Hey guys, welcome back again. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've got a couple of these Sega Master System IIs. These are the PAL version, but as we know with these things, you can see there, I've got the PAL on the back. As you know with these things, they're RF out only. They don't have any AV outputs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to modify this. So I'm going to put a little socket on the back and use one of these little puppies here, which has the audio video outlets on it, and I'll show you how to wire that up in one of these things. The first thing we'll do, I've hooked it all up, just make sure it works. So it should be tuned in because I just left it doing its thing. So we'll turn this on and have a look. Fingers crossed. Nothing. Let's give it another go. Just make sure that's all tapped in. There we go, power was out. Oh yeah, as you can see, RF not the best. So that's a kid built in this one. Let's put an AV mod on this and get that picture usable so we can actually play it. Right, now we're back on the workbench here. So we are going to need a few other little parts for this. I mean, of course, we're going to need the socket, as I showed you before, and the little attachment with the AV outputs. But we are going to need a couple of other things. We're going to need a 220 UF 16 volt capacitor and a 75 ohm quarter watt resistor. That'll be what's used to get this all up and going. One other mod I might do as well is actually add an LED, because these don't have a power on LED. I might add an LED on this as well, and for that we're going to need another 75 ohm quarter watt resistor and a 3mm coloured LED, whatever colour you like. You'll also need some wire and heat shrink as well. But what we'll do is we'll pull this thing apart first and we'll get stuck into it. Now these old Segas are quite easy, they just use Phillips screws, so we've just got 5 of them in here, so I'll pop those out now. Right, those 5 screws are out. Once we've done that, we'll just flip them back over and the top should just come off. Should. Like so. There we go. Well, it took a little bit. It has a couple little clips in the front there. But yeah, once that comes out, we can put this past aside. And then what we've got to do now is we've a bit fluffy in there, but that's fine. We'll clean that out. We've just got to take this little heat shield off, or sorry, the little RF shield. So this has just got a couple of Phillips screws, which we'll do now. Right, all of those screws are off now. So now we should just be able to lift this up and slide it out from under this little tab here. There we go. Put him aside. And that's what we're left with. Our Master System main board. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this outside, give it a quick little dust off because it is very fluffy. And then once I've done that, we will then start looking at the modifications we need to do on it. Right, now we've got all this all cleaned up. So what the main chip we're going to work on today is this chip here, which is the Sony CXA1145P, which is this one here, and this is the audio video chip. This is the main one that we need to just work on. We don't need to look at anything else on here. And this is quite a common audio video chip used on a few gaming systems. So it's nice and easy to just to tap straight into this and get our feeds off it. It also has RGB as well, if you want to do an RGB. But I'm just going to do a video and 2 audio feeds off it. Even though it's only a mono channel, I'll just split it into the 1 into the 2, so at least we can go the left and right of modern TVs. So what we'll do is pin 20 on here is our video feed, and pin 9 is the audio feed, and pin 1 is our ground. And then we need the capacitor and the resistor in the video feed just to clean up that signal before we put it straight out to an RCA. I'm just considering whether I drill a hole in the back of this or if I just mount. I think I might just mount it and actually just have this wire coming out of this thing here. I don't know if I can. I could try. Yeah, I might do that and just actually put the little socket in here. Or no, actually no, I'm going to drill a hole in the back. I mean, this is my own. This is one of my own consoles I'm going to keep. I'm going to drill a hole. They're only a very tiny little, tiny little socket, so it's only going to be a little black socket coming out the back somewhere over here. So it'll look tidy. So we'll just do that. So what I'll do is I'll find all the bits and pieces we need, and we'll go from there. Right, so I've got my capacitor that I need, which is the 220 UF 16 volt capacitor. Now I don't have any 75 ohm resistors, but I do have 150 ohm resistors. So what I'm going to do is just put two of those in parallel together, and that'll bring us down to 75. And I'll just heat shrink that. So we've got all the bits and pieces we needed. So first thing we'll do is we will get these soldered onto the chip. Actually, just to make life a little bit easier, I'm actually going to take the motherboard out of this case because I do need to drill a hole in the back of this case as well. One thing I will need to do is quickly just put that back on there so I can see where, oh yeah, I've got plenty of clearance in between here, so I'll probably pop it about here, I reckon. A little socket, that'll be fine. And then I'll come back once I pull this out. Right, to pull it out, all you need to remove is just the two screws that are on either side here of the cartridge slot, and then you can slide it out. And one thing I have just noticed is this little capacitor here is actually broken. I don't know if you can see that. So we're going to have to look at replacing that one as well while we're at it. So now that we've undone those, we should be able to just lift this straight out. Just got little tabs that it sits on. There we go. And we can take that bottom shield out, and more dust underneath, so I'll clean that out as well. And then we will get stuck into this board, and what I will do is I'll bring up the schematic on this and see what we can replace this capacitor with, seeing that it's actually snapped off the top. And we'll check the board, make sure we've got no others that are causing issues like that. Right, so sorry about that, the microphone died on my while I was videoing, so the videos I did were just putting these wires on, no good. So the wires are on, but what I'll explain what I've done. So the earth wire goes on to pin 1, and the audio wire goes on to pin 9, and the video wire goes on to pin 20. So the videos I did with no sound, which is a bit silly, was just showing those ones connecting onto each one. So now we've got the wires connected. All I've done is I've just left the wires out like that. So what I'm going to do now, I've removed that capacitor that was broken. It was a 270 PF ceramic capacitor, so I've actually just cut it off. The legs are still sticking out there, but I will turn the board over, unsolder those legs and pull them out. And I've also just gone down the shop, and because I didn't have any, so I had to go and buy a couple of 270 PF capacitors there, so I can put one of those in its place. And while I was down there, I actually got the 75k resistors as well, so I don't have to do the two in parallel, so I can use the proper one. Right, so what I'll do is I will unsolder the legs on this capacitor here and replace it with one of the new ones I've just bought. Right, soldered that capacitor in place. Everything else looks okay on the board. So what we'll do is we'll pop this back into the bottom of the Master System shell, and then we'll mount the little piece that this plugs into. Right, I've mounted the board back in, put the two screws back in by the cartridge slot. It's all nice and good in there. And then what I did too is I actually just drilled the hole for the for this piece to go through. So what I'll do is I'll probably solder up everything first, and then I'll pop that in, because we need to find out from these 4 pins here which is which. So I'll do that with the multimeter now. Actually, what I have done as well is I've actually just cut the sides on that and bent that up a bit, because I just need somewhere for my wires to pop out. And I thought that would be quite a good place. You can just keep everything tidy. That way the wires are not getting clamped down by this little case, and that's good. So what I will do is I'll screw this back down as well, and then we'll put this piece in there. Right, I've got all that mounted this in as well, and what I've had to do, I've had to actually splay the legs out because they were nearly touching the shield. So what I'll do is I'll get my multimeter now, plug this in, and we'll work out what's what and which ones to solder to. Alright, so all I'm doing is I'm just putting my probe into one end here, which is the positive of the video, and then we just touch the pins until we find the video one. So we know that's video. Let's go one side of the audio. There we go, so that's that one. And the other side of the audio is that one. So our two audios are that one and that one. The video is that one, so I presume the bottom pin should be the earth for all of them. Yep, that's correct. Right, so now we know which pins are which, we can start soldering up what needs to be soldered on there. Right, well, the earth wire, I've soldered that on, seen it's on at the bottom and probably the hardest to get at, so that's on. Now the audio is that one and that one, which we know. So what I'm going to do, because it only outputs mono audio, I'm just going to, I've stripped the wire, put a bit of solder on there, and I'm just going to tap it on there and tap it on there and just join those two together so that they both come out. The mono audio will come out on the left and right side of the RCAs. So I'll do that now. Right, that's done now. So that's joined there and there. So that's the audio channel done, and all we've got left is the video now, but we do have to put our capacitor and our resistor in line. So what we need to do, the first thing we need to connect is the minus side of the capacitor. It needs to connect directly to the output pin. So what I'll do is I'll solder that one on first, and then we'll solder the resistor onto the other end of that. Right, so I've soldered the resistor onto the capacitor. I'll now put a bit of heat shrink on the wire, and I'm just going to solder that on there and then slide the heat shrink over the whole lot and just tidy that up. Right, as you can see there, put the heat shrink over it. So we should, fingers crossed, be good to go. We might just go and take it to the TV and just test it before I put the lid back on, and we'll just make sure it's going. Right, well, I went to plug it in and test it, and I had audio but not video, and I worked out why. Is because those resistors I bought were meant to be 75 ohm, not 75k. So what I've gone and done is I've just gone and done those two in parallel. I've just replaced that one that was 75 ohm. Let's see if I can get a bit closer there, and just put in those two parallel ones, which now give us 75 ohm. And now we should be good to go. Yes, look at that picture, way better. There you go. So it's a nice simple mod to get audio and video to your AV cables out of your Master System II. That picture's way better. So what we'll do is we'll go and put the lid back on. I'm not going to do the LED mod because you actually need a hot glue gun to do that, and I can't find mine. So that might be a mod to do in a later video. So let's go and put the top back on. Right, got the lid all back on, good to go. Should still be all go, hopefully. Yep. Yep, it's working fine. Yeah, cool. So there you go. Nice simple little mod. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing videos every week. And we'll see you in the next one.